Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Remember a few years ago where every business was talking about mobile apps? We must have a mobile app. Until app fatigue set in and nobody downloads them anymore. But thankfully, businesses are now thinking bigger and creating unique personalised experiences that enable them to deliver the right message on the right device at the right time. And most important of all, I think it's crucial that we highlight that customers are driving these changes with their rising expectations because they want that Netflix-style experience in every service that they subscribe to. But some businesses out there could be understandably thinking that this whole transformation and leaning towards digital experience is incredibly daunting. But a company called HGS Digital recently set my tech spider senses tingling after reading how they enable enterprises and help them create simple, frictionless digital experiences that solve complex problems. And one thing I always advise to anyone that emails me or asks me for help and advice is always be curious. And let me tell you, HGS Digital opened my curiosity. So I invited them onto the show today and Virgil Wong gladly accepted. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Texas where Virgil is passing through, and I think he was expecting a nice bit of sunshine and escaping the New York winter for a few days as he was passing through. But he had quite the surprise as a cold snap has hit town, so hopefully he has packed his winter gear. But I digress. So come with me now and we'll chat with Virgil together. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Virgil. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Hi, Neil. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I am the Global Practice Head for Digital Experience and Creative at HGS. My background is in art and design, intelligent technologies, and cognitive psychology. So what I think about every day is how we can create better digital tools to empower people and help address their unique needs, behaviors, and intrinsic motivations. This approach around individualized, human-centric, and data-powered design is really a major differentiator for us on how we can really help businesses outsmart their competitors, better serve their customers, and achieve lasting success in the experience economy.
And I'm glad you mentioned the word experience economy there, because I think the first time that I heard about the experience economy was watching the Adobe CEO at Summit. And I'm not sure if it was 2015 or 2016 that they first made a big deal about the experience economy. So I've got to ask, when did digital experience begin to be taken seriously by businesses from the conversations that you're having?
I think like market leaders in every industry really started paying attention in the last 10, 11 years when digital disruptors really achieved unprecedented success through, I think, their primary focus on shaping these extraordinary customer experiences. I remember seeing last year Financial Force wrote about how Uber isn't killing taxis per se. People just want to know their fares beforehand. They want to get a ride more easily. Amazon isn't killing retailers per se. People want and are demanding a phenomenal customer experience, more product options, which seem limitless on Amazon, and two-day delivery to their homes. And Airbnb isn't really killing hotels. People want better availability and more pricing options. Even experts get fixated on the technology itself, mobile, AI, VR, serving as the sole creative source of disruption. The true disruptive power, of course, comes from being customer-centric, creating memorable experiences that really connect you to your customers and foster this authentic and reciprocal relationship of hopefully trust, loyalty, and advocacy. Harnessing this potential of your brand around customer experience has to be this constantly evolving part of your digital transformation journey.
And as someone that's been on this digital customer experience journey and seen it evolve throughout the years, those 10, 11 years that you've talked about there, how have you seen it change since it began and continuously change along the way? Is there it particularly stands out to you?
Well, yeah, I feel kind of a old fogey in the digital world. I do remember back in the 90s, digital experience kind of just meant having a website just because your competitors were building them. Yeah. Digital content from businesses was primarily one-directional publishing like radio or TV. Even way back in 1995, though, Amazon allowed customers to post reviews of products on their website, which at the time people thought was completely bonkers. If you're trying to sell a toaster, why would you let someone publish a terrible review about it? Would a brick and mortar shop allow you to walk in and put up a sticky note complaining about your crappy toaster that happens to be on display? Of course, Amazon understood the importance of building the bigger relationship with the customer as a trusted resource. You buy another toaster on its website because you had faith that real live people actually gave those 5-star reviews. So content became increasingly bidirectional between customers and producers. In the middle of the late aughts, social media took center stage, and customer content, the customer voice, became even louder than the company's advertising and press releases in many cases. Digital customer experience was really social-centric. And then, of course, in the 2010s, it was all about mobile-first design, enterprise mobile strategies, responsive sites and apps. Now it's all about data and AI. But what I keep thinking about, what hasn't changed for all the businesses that continue to thrive, is customer centricity, understanding your audience through verified personas, understanding the complete customer journey inside and out, how it changes, how it evolves, and really designing every step of that experience with close attention to every customer's questions, needs, and motivations along the way.
And the thing with digital experience is it is in danger of becoming a bit of a buzzword, and a lot of businesses are jumping on that bandwagon. So I've got to ask, is there anything that you wish more people understood about creating those engaging digital experiences? And also, are there any myths that you would love to finally lay to rest today?
Well, I wish more businesses understood the idea of information therapy. So in healthcare, physicians are generally very careful not to overdose patients with too much medication, which is great. But patients are frequently overloaded with way too much information. So if you're diagnosed with some disease, God forbid cancer, well, while you're reeling from this news, I'm going to tell you everything about your treatment over the next 1 to 2 years in the next 5 minutes. It's really overwhelming and so much stress and anxiety sort of written in that experience. It's far more preferable to tell people what they need to know, when they need to know it, and in the best way for them to remember and use that information. So I think the myth really is that you can just dump a lot of content on people and expect them to respond. The reality is that the low cognitive load of most people, including myself in particular these days, requires businesses to exercise thoughtful curation, design, and planning to make sure their digital experiences provide the right information at the right time and using the right channel.
And any additional myths that really wind you up? I know it was a few years ago. Everyone was wanting to invest in mobile apps. There was an app for everything, wasn't there? That was a big problem. Is there anything that particularly frustrates you now? Or?
Yeah, I remember that as well. Like the myth is that, if you build an app, people are going to download it. And you're like, the reality, most people have enough apps on their phone. They don't want to download any more apps. There's a myth that's kind of perpetrating that we're trying to sort of channel in the right way, that many companies have been adopting chatbots thinking that, I can just let go of my human agents because the chatbot will take care of everything. Yeah. And it is true that chatbots can automate those common tasks that you might get phone calls, emails, the same sort of repeated inquiries about. But the idea is that you really want to combine chatbots. The reality is that you want to leverage that AI, that technology with human agents to really provide that outstanding customer service. HGS Digital likes to call bots and brains, human brains. How do we leverage computers and people and technology in the best holistic manner to provide that great customer experience? So there's kind of a shift in that myth and reality model that we really want to show that you can automate, you can use these natural language processing technologies to provide better customer service, but it's one part of the puzzle, not an exclusive piece.
And from the conversations that you're having with businesses and brands, is there anything in particular that businesses are struggling with, especially when it comes to creating these digital experiences?
Yeah, I do see a lot of kind of logistical, technical kind of things along the way, but the biggest challenge I see every day really is rarely with the technology itself. It's the culture within the organization that is often anathema to change. I've worked with many complicated organizations over the years, including academic medical centers where departments, centers, programs, and institutes all have a high degree of autonomy, like many separate fiefdoms or kingdoms at times, even though they're all technically part of one institution. I see this in many different industries. And any organization in a highly regulated industry like healthcare or finance is correctly adverse to be, reticent about change that might incur new risks. So the solution is to do your due diligence around privacy, safety, and security. You have to identify and prioritize the key problems of the organization and start that conversation around transformation and keep that going. There are many health psychology models for behavior change for individuals that can also apply to organizational change. And the initiative is often akin to a grassroots political campaign, and hopefully not a too pejorative a way. You have to build support from key stakeholders across the organization. You have to nurture allies and advocates and address concerns seriously and responsibly every step of the way. Digital transformation may be led by the chief marketing officer, the chief information officer, the chief data officer, but it's critical, whatever that sort of leadership is coming from, that all three of them work together in a seamless sort of fashion. HGS Digital does quite a bit of free initial consultations to enterprises along with customized workshops to help you bring together stakeholders, set priorities, look at the latest trends and best practices for your key problem areas, and really kickstart your digital transformation initiative to create those better digital customer experiences.
And I also recently noticed in the last few weeks that Gartner featured multi-experience as one of its top 10 strategic technology trends for businesses in 2020. So do you think that is just the beginning of these low-code offerings that will encourage businesses to go beyond mobile?
I do believe that. I teach a virtual and augmented reality course at the New School, and the focus I have is not on the hardcore programming, but it's all around storytelling. We're using relatively simple-to-use tools to rapidly prototype, experiment, and iterate narrative VR and AR experiences. I tell any of my students who might be intimidated by technology that computers are, at least for now, relatively stupid. Programming tells a computer to do something using explicit declarative and conditional statements, and we generally have to talk to computers in a very specific way, or they don't understand us. But now with advances in natural language and cognitive processing technologies, we're starting to change this. Computers can become more literate about people rather than people having to become more literate about computers, this idea of multi-experience that Gardner was talking about. I think we're going to see more and more tools that make it easier for both individuals and enterprises to create these multiple points of interaction using wearables and sensors in particular. I think that before you mentioned, Gardner talked about Domino's Pizza using autonomous vehicles, an online pizza tracker, smart speaker communications. I see many more of those efforts underway now. And I think we're going to be seeing these ambient user experiences, which I think Adobe, Gardner, a lot of folks talk quite a bit about, that really seamlessly blends together the physical and virtual environment. So it's not just augmented reality, it's providing that continuous, uninterrupted, that ambient, what they're talking about, ambient user experiences for every stage of your customer's journey, and preserving that experience in its full continuity across devices and across different spaces and even periods of time. I'd like to think about this kind of one example that I've been involved in. Say if you're again, like a cancer patient going through chemotherapy, or if you're a caregiver, you might get an alert on your phone to clean your vascular access device for the first time, and then seamlessly get step-by-step verbal instructions on your Alexa device, or your caregiver might have simple directions and kind of AR visualizations to make sure you completely understand and are able to assess if you are cleaning the device properly, or even to be able to connect to a live nurse who can help right away at the exact moment without missing a beat. So the idea is this kind of uninterrupted, seamless process of getting what you need, again, at the right place, the right time, the right channel. And I see this all as an extension of creating these caring, human-centric, and personalized experiences. People generally want to be treated as a unique individual, a real human being. And if I interacted with your organization before, if I bought stuff from you before, I probably want you to know that I'm a customer of yours. I want you to know what I bought from you. And usually I'm okay with you using this data if you can give me a better experience.
And I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because one thing that fascinates me when we talk about digital experiences and the journey and personalization of everything is that customers are essentially driving these changes and demanding unique personalized digital experiences. But if you get that balance wrong, a business could quickly be deemed creepy. So what's the secret of getting that balance right and not appearing to be too intrusive?
Great question. We see this all the time. But I don't know if it's a secret, but what we encourage organizations to do is to balance that. Well, hopefully not be creepy at all, but if you're trying to balance this helpfulness versus creepiness ratio, you do it just like you do any relationship. Imagine, Neil, if I met you for the first time at a party, and before you said a word, the first thing I started talking about is exactly what you had for breakfast, and that unusual piece of clothing you clicked on, you accidentally clicked on Amazon, and you're some sort of health issue that you're experiencing. This would be totally creepy, worthy of a restraining order. Yet many businesses are using data in precisely this way. Now, imagine instead if we sat down and, like we are now, having a great conversation about your culinary preferences, your more adventuresome attire considerations, your health issues or whatever that might be, in a friendly sort of collegial way. And then if I invited you to meet me for coffee at your favorite pancake house, or joked about some novelty clothing store, or recommended a physician, it probably would make a lot more sense and hopefully grow our relationship. So I see with great sales and marketing, you have to have that same authentic, genuine, real-life conversation with people over time. You have to leverage data to find customers that might be interested in your product or service, of course, but you also have to use data, AI, and I think a deep respect for other thinking and feeling human beings to really grow and nurture what should be a mutual relationship. That's how you build loyalty, commitment, and real enthusiasm of a customer base. I think most businesses that I come across really want that immediate gratification, and they expect data and AI to be these magic bullets. Personalized digital experiences must be designed with a human-centric mindset first and foremost, and the results aggregate over time, like rings on a tree. It's something that requires that time, that effort.
And for anyone listening that would like to find out more information about the kind of work that you're doing here and help them visualize that, do you have any examples or use cases of how you've helped brands become digital innovators?
Oh, absolutely. One thing I love about working at HGS Digital is to be able to work with so many different folks in so many different industries. We have over 250 digital transformation success stories, including from world-renowned organizations in healthcare, insurance, and finance, as well as Fortune 500 companies in retail, technology, manufacturing. We helped a $27 billion global manufacturer of semiconductors improve their digital experience performance by over 300%, according to Blazemeter. We also helped the #1 cancer hospital in the Western United States go from having a website that crashed every single day to leading the pack and offering innovative digital experiences. This included an incredible online community of patients, doctors and clinicians, caregivers, and loved ones who are connecting and finding hope in even the most extenuating life and death circumstances at every stage of the cancer diagnosis and treatment process.
Now, of course, we are approaching the time of year where there's going to be nothing but business trend articles for 2020. So I'm going to ask you to gaze into your crystal ball here for a few moments. Are there any digital experience trends that businesses should be looking out for in 2020?
Oh gosh, if I never have to read another 2020 trends article,
and it's only November
about the future of technology. I'm trying not to write one, but I'm just from my own experience, I think there are probably 3 dominant trends. Most people, I think, are kind of talking about these, and I've seen this firsthand, and I think we'll continue to expand through 2020. #1, of course, as we've been discussing, everything continues to revolve around data and analytics. Companies will really live or die based on their data strategy, their engineering of big data, how they design and implement different data platforms, what consumer and operational insights they can properly interpret from the available data. That's one mistake that I see all the time. Data is not necessarily knowledge. You have to be able to process and use it in an effective way. How companies leverage interaction analytics. So what's been going on in the past and what's going on right now with customers' digital experiences, how they're using predictive analytics, using regression analyses to look at past data and really make some substantive predictions. And of course, machine learning, using algorithms and statistical models for digital applications to perform specific tasks based on patterns and inference rather than explicit directions. And of course, all of that is tied in with number two. There's quite a bit of continued talk about intelligent automation. And we see all of our top innovating businesses incorporating this convergence of digital, intelligent process automation, analytics, and artificial intelligence directly into their new business models. It's intrinsically woven into how they operate as an organization. And the implementation of these initiatives that we're really trying to help out with, we see it do coming from the top down in many degrees, but really being able to reach the entire organization, do it at scale. That's the big challenge that they're facing with this particular trend. We talk a lot about how AI investment decisions not only need to be the C-level strategy imperatives, and how intelligent automation really has to be a business and operating model transformation. It's not just about deploying new technologies. So we're really helping these trendsetters excel at building a strategy and roadmap around optimizing and engineering these processes, helping them select the right AI and robotic process automation platform, automating the right customer interactions and cognitive processes. Some things are good for automation, others not so good. And really ensuring that you have this outstanding quality in your contact center and using the best of bots and brains, as I mentioned before. And let's see, the third big trend, I think augmented reality will continue to grow. Virtual content and physical objects. We're going to see more and more of these close connections between how we interact with physical objects using virtual technologies. And it's going to go beyond just scanning a barcode and looking at products. Your phones will be able to provide more contextual information using augmented reality, reviews, instructions, or other visualizations layered onto specific parts of a live image or a product. The apps for Home Depot, Best Buy, Macy's all allow you to select an item, scan a room with your phone, and see how, say, a piece of furniture will look, feel, and fit into your space. We're going to see many more of these applications. Augmented reality, and I think any great marketing, inspires a visualization of your better future life with that product or service.
And for anybody listening that would like to stay in touch with you guys, follow you on social channels or check out your blog and keep up to speed with this overwhelming amount of knowledge and data and insights around this part of the industry, can you just point the listeners in the direction of your website, how they can find you online, and also the best way of contacting your team if they've got any questions?
Oh, sure, of course. Our URL is www.hgsdigital.com. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook at HGS Digital. My colleagues and I at HGS are here to help. Any of these channels, we are available to assist with the strategy and roadmap, technology, platform selection, design, implementation of any digital solution that puts your customers and their amazing experience at the heart of your enterprise. And yeah, we're excited to see what sort of additional opportunities and ways that we can really provide that assistance and better serve your customers.
Fantastic. Well, I think so many businesses and indeed individuals find the prospect of digital customer experience platforms and delivering the right message on the right time across a plethora of devices. And not only that, investigating the right AI, machine learning, data strategy, and then exploring augmented reality is understandably daunting. But I cannot thank you enough today, Virgil, for coming on the show and actually helping make sense of a lot of that and putting it in a language that everybody can understand. It's great work that you're doing. So thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Neil. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
Wow. I mean, listening to Virgil talk about so many different areas of digital experiences and the tech investment and knowledge required around complex subjects such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, data strategy, augmented reality, etc., really hammered home just how tech is a huge deal for business leaders now, especially if they're serious about not only reaching but exceeding those rising expectations from their customers. But thankfully, companies such as HGS can help businesses increase revenue, engage customers, and optimize operations. Not to mention help with strategy, design, and that technology that's needed to successfully become a digital innovator in their industry. And let's face it, businesses need this kind of help now, because not every company out there is a tech company, but they're kind of expected to be because of these rising expectations. But enough from me. I now pass the virtual microphone over to everybody listening, wherever you are in the world. I'd love to know your thoughts, your insights, expertise, experiences, or maybe just a question. Whatever it is, my door is open to each and every one of you. And you can reach me by simply emailing me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or tweeting me at Neil C. Hughes. I think I've worn myself out today. I got quite excited by our conversation with Virgil, so I'm going to lie down and take it easy for a few hours. But I will return tomorrow, fully recharged with another guest, and showcase how technology is transforming industries, our lives, and indeed our world. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.